Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of the Vesey Total Grassroots Football Podcast, brought to you by VL.co. We are a brand new podcast over the airwaves, and we're all about a knowledge share, right? We want to help the grassroots industry grow, and over the weeks and months, we have got guests lined up to talk about their little corner of the grassroots industry. Today, very special, we actually have someone in the studio. We've got Ryan from RB Coaching. Ryan, how are you?
Very well. How are you, sir? What about yourself?
I'm good, thank you, mate. Yeah, I mean, it's about 38 degrees in here, so we'll try and make this one quick, 20 minutes and we'll stop the clock. But we'll crack straight in. So you are from RB Coaching.
I am.
I'm assuming from your initials, you run the business, right?
I do. I'm the founder of RB Coaching.
Cool. And tell me, who are RB Coaching? What do you actually do?
So RB Coaching is a specialist technical company for players that want additional learning. So we're very much of a skill education based company in the Warwickshire and West Midlands region, where players come to us to gain further knowledge on techniques.
So techniques at playing, or for them to become coaches, or coaching techniques? Coaching
techniques for them to become better footballers. So we don't run teams. We just specialise in the additional coaching market with our quite unique 8-to-1 academy and 1-to-1 sessions.
Right. So how do you mean? So they are already playing in a team, they're already being coached, and then this is kind of advanced stuff, is what you're saying? It
is. Yes, they already play for their grassroots or academy teams, and they come to us to gain that extra bit of knowledge around techniques. We specialise in teaching the how, what, where, when, why. So every technique is broken down in very detailed fashion. Okay. So the players walk away from us, having completed like a 12 modules per season.
Sure.
And they they've upskilled their knowledge, and they come out better technicians.
Okay. And are there many of these kind of companies around? Like obviously, you said you're based in the Midlands, but it sounds like it's quite a specialised thing. Or is it, I'm assuming it's for players that really are dedicated. They want to go the extra mile to fine-tune their own techniques, right?
You're right on the second part. It's for the players that are a little bit more dedicated to the game, maybe the more elite grassroots players, right, and academy players that want additional coaching. But on your question in terms of are there many around? When I first started, there wasn't. But the additional coaching market is absolutely huge now. If anything, it's actually a little bit flooded.
Right.
So that's a good thing, because there's enough kids to go around.
Yeah, mate.
Each and every one offers their own kind of unique style on how additional coaching should be. We're established. We've got a really, really good product.
Yeah.
A really good syllabus. So yeah, we're quite popular in that region.
And do you have kind of like your own, proprietary techniques, or is that kind of like a playbook that a lot of these companies run from? Do you have specific ways that you teach these kids?
Yeah, well, we have 12 different modules based on different components of the game.
Yeah.
We've kind of created our own brand, created our own style of teaching. Our own syllabus, and there's not a technique that we don't cover within our syllabus. So
right.
in terms of a playbook, there isn't, but I am working behind the scenes on a brand new project to create a football skills app, which has everything on, but that's for the future.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
It is a bit of an exclusive. Things are going well behind the scenes, so hopefully ready in 18 months, 2 years, and we can have another podcast and chat about it.
Mate, I'll be there with bells on. So we're looking at, in the Midlands, how many people are involved in this in RB Coaching? What's the size of the business?
Yeah, so we've got about 13 to 14 members of staff,
right.
2 full-time staff, including myself, and lots of part-time staff who are UEFA qualified coaches. We operate in about nine different centres, right, across the Warwickshire West Midlands region, so different towns, different cities, and we go to a different venue each night and each evening, and we that's kind of like that. And to be fair, it started with me in a park and a bag of balls.
So that was going to be my next question. How did it start? Or in fact, not even how, but why? You go in as a kid wanting to play football, but how do you start a business to then support kids playing more football or bettering themselves? There must have been something, I'm assuming, that happened.
Yeah. Well, it all kind of started. I was working for another coaching company at the time, right, and my firstborn son was on his way, so I needed a little bit of extra cash, I guess.
Yeah.
So I started up the 1-to-1 side of things, and quickly it grew into, I developed a good reputation around the area, and then more and more kids. And then eventually I thought, well, how can I see more children. That's when the 8-to-1 Academy was born, so I could then invest in more group activities. So yeah, it's kind of like a forced start, really.
Yeah,
but
it's just kind of grown out of nowhere. How long ago was this? How long have you been around?
2013.
Okay, right.
Yeah, so I came from a playing background, an academy background, and I worked in academies, and then this kind of was born, and it's been my life ever since. And I've been working in academies since, as well as a part-time role.
And from a growth perspective, right? What do you need more of? Do you need more people coaching, or do you need more kids that want to better themselves above and beyond what they currently do right now?
I think there's always kids that want to better themselves. I think every child wants to better themselves.
Yeah.
In terms of expansion, for me, I wouldn't like to franchise out, because I like to be in control of what I can control.
And there's that quality assurance, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I like to be at all the sessions, and my staff are amazing people, amazing coaches. So I'd like to. I don't want to grow too big, because that's not who I am.
Yeah, sure. And I guess you kind of, like I said, you keep that one-to-one feel, right?
Yeah, 100%.
You get in full control of the output at the other end, right? So what do the kids go through? How do they get a part of becoming, or getting signed up to RB coaching?
Just making contact via social media, and I know we're going to get onto that a little bit later on. But I think it's RB coaching is for a certain type of player that really is very coachable. They're very interested in becoming the best player that they want to be. So
they've got to be a really dedicated kid, right? And when I say kid, I keep mentioning that phrase. What are the age ranges here that we're looking at?
Yeah, so the RB coaching runs from age 6 to age 12.
Right. And it takes, I don't have kids that age, but I'm assuming it takes quite a special kid between 6 and 12 to have that thought process, to say, yes, I do want to better myself as a player. Or is there a bit of a nudge from the parent as well?
I think there always has to be a nudge from the parent, because they're their taxi.
Yeah.
They're their taxi, and they're the ones that kind of put them in positions. I think post 12, I think it comes down to the kid a lot more, in terms of the kid wants to better themselves from an individual
and
point
stay
of view.
dedicated in football.
I think so, but up till 12, I think the parents need to give them a little bit of a nudge. But at that age, the passion and the flowing of juices for the child's energy to want to be a footballer at its highest.
Yeah, sure.
So I think naturally every child wants to improve, and they love coming to our sessions, and they love the environment that we create. It's very positive.
Yeah, and do you see them turn into better people as well? I'm assuming, right? It's not just about bettering the skills, but it's probably bettering their dedication and their focus.
I think any good coach not only improves a footballer, but they improve the person.
Yeah.
And they build up certain character traits. Like we run player workshops as well alongside our coaching. So players will learn how to be a good teammate. Players will learn about growth mindset, how to prepare themselves before matches, target setting. So we incorporate all that into our program as well as the parent workshops that we deliver. We're very unique on that front in terms of we run a separate parent education program,
right?
So
to be a supportive parent in football.
Exactly. We leave no stone unturned. So parents come on our program to better themselves as well. So we talk about how they should behave pre-match, mid-game, post-match. Right. We talk about nutrition. We talk about scheduling. And
that's really important. I've not really thought about that. You're totally right. You need to have obviously the dedicated child that has to have the right type of mindset, but also you need to educate the parent in it as well, right?
Yeah, 100%. We came up with the idea about 6 years ago. So the first part was whereby we would teach the parents exactly what we've taught the player. So then the parents knew exactly what techniques we were putting into the child. So there's no mixed messaging.
Yeah.
And then we evolved it into modules, like you say, and educating the parents has been massive. And sometimes educating the parents is actually the difference between their child being better and not being better.
Yeah, because they're probably more engaged at home, or they can have a good conversation. Oh, do you remember this? Do you remember that from that module?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's almost like helping them with the homework kind of
exactly.
stuff. And not having to worry about algebra and the maths that they can't do, right? So what about the actual coaches themselves? Your team that help, obviously, coach the kids. Have you got any tips on how to be a better coach as such? Do you see certain things that aren't happening, or you see things that are happening that you'd actually like to reduce?
I think the few key tips to be a better coach. I'd always say, if you're the best coach in the room, you're in the wrong room.
That's a classic phrase. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think you can learn off coaches that are better than you, and it's holding your hands up and saying, actually, he's better than me or she's better than me,
and learn from that.
I'm going to go and watch them, learn them, because you're not just stealing exercises. You might be stealing, characteristics, how they interact with children, their personality, their little trigger words. So I remember in my early days coaching, 100%, I used to stay behind when I was working at Birmingham City at the time, and I used to stay behind after my session and watch other coaches work, and that's when I did most of my learning.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
That's really important. Go and watch better people than you, and
Is there a forum for coaches to all hang out and chat and knowledge share and stuff?
I think these days with social media and Twitter in particular, I think there's a good network of coaches that you can speak to. Zoom's obviously been really popular, so a lot of coaches do run coach education clinics online. So the access for coaches to be better is better than ever. Yeah,
and I think it's that digital transformation process that the whole world's gone through over the past 18 months. It is now okay to say, can we do a video call? Beforehand, when I used to go to meetings, let's say I had to go up in town, it would take me an hour to get there, hang out in a coffee shop for an hour till the guy turned up. Then I sit there for 20 minutes, hoping that I've made a sale, and then take 2 hours back. And there's a full day gone, right? Now, I can do 8 meetings in a day. The problem is I'm doing 8 meetings in a day, right? But it's okay now that, like I said, with that digital transformation, is that the access to stuff is great. You can train somebody, and it's not an awkward conversation over video, because now we're all used to being on video, right?
I agree. Like I've been working at Coventry City Academy the last 2 years, and some of the Zoom meetings that we've had and special guest coaches probably wouldn't have got that.
No, absolutely,
without that Zoom kind of interaction. So there's access for coaches to learn, whether it be books, podcasts, videos,
online tutorials.
So it's never been a better time to be a coach. Apps.
Yeah. So how do people get into coaching? I mean, there must be a point, again, players turn and go, actually, I'm not a player, I prefer being a coach. Or you were a player, you've then gone and jumped on the corporate ladder for 10, 15, 20 odd years, and now you want to coach because your kids are growing up. So how do you, have you got any tips around becoming a coach or becoming a better coach?
Yeah, I think the FA have just done a scheme that from 14 years of age you can get a qualification. I think it's the
At 14 you can be a coach.
There's like a playmaker course, like an introduction. I think from 16 you can get your level 1, which I advise any 16-year-old to do.
And you hit up your county FA for that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
right?
county FA, and then you can kind of work your way through the badges that way. In terms of my route, it was more of like an education route. I went to after my release at Nottingham Forest at 16, I went to college and then did my sports science. Went to Coventry University, then, for some reason I went to Southampton Solent University and studied football. So I've got a degree in football.
Right. I didn't even know you could have a degree in football.
What? If anyone's listening and they've got a child around the age of 17, 18, I can't recommend Southampton Solent Football Studies degree enough. Honestly, amazing.
What's involved in that?
Everything.
To digress, but
everything. Think about modules. You've got football management, you've got football principles and practice, coaching. You've got the business side of football.
This is a full-time course.
It's a full-time course. Honestly, unbelievable 3 years that I had there. So that was my education route. With that, I got my badges. Achieved my B license at 21. So I went through the FA badge route and the education route, and then I was in a strong position then because I had a football degree plus relevant qualification. So then
was there an element of business management in there as well?
There was.
Because that probably helped them with the build of RB coaching.
Right? I think so. I think every part of it helped, and because I love football, it was my passion. I found that doing a degree in football, I loved it. I attended all the time. It was my passion. I loved it. So and then I went into the academy side of thing, and then I kind of balanced my academy elite stuff with actually working in the after school clubs and the school work. And I'd advise any coach out there, if you're listening, go and start from the bottom, because that's where you learn the most.
Sure.
You learn about management of behaviours, group management. You find your own style without any pressure. So when you work in schools, there's no parents watching. You can make all your mistakes early doors. And I remember I was about 19, I got thrust in to this school session, never really coached before, if I'm honest. And it was the best thing I ever did, because I learned so much in them early years. So I'd advise anyone to start from the bottom, find your own personality, make all your errors, and really mold yourself into the coach that you want to be. And also, I think to be a really good coach, you've got to love it. You've got to have a deep passion.
You've got to be that kind of person as well.
Because if you don't, it reflects on the children.
Yeah, you've got to be dedicated in the mindset, that focus. And like I said, my wife's a nurse, and she's a nurse for a reason, right? I would never be a nurse. It's not my kind of thing. Not that I'm not empathetic, but it's just, I don't have that thread through me. Whereas as a coach, I think you do have to be that specific person. There is a certain value in you to be a kid's coach, football coach, right?
I agree.
And what kind of part does social media play in all this? Not only just to kind of help obviously grow the business, but from a coaching perspective as well. Like, I'm assuming obviously RB Coaching are on social, and you push out a whole bunch of content to kind of raise the awareness and get more kids involved.
I think so. Maybe something I could do a little bit more, to be fair. So busy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Facebook's been really good for business. And I know Instagram. I'm not a great user of Instagram, but I should be.
Yeah.
From what I've been told. But video content, posts from Facebook, Instagram are very powerful.
Yeah.
From a Twitter perspective, it's not really a case of gaining more followers from Twitter and getting more business. I think Twitter's really good for, like we spoke about earlier, about education.
Yeah.
In terms of sessions and watching better coaches than you, reading.
So it's a good resource. I do find
really
that Twitter is a good sports platform, right? Because I think sports is so real time, or there's a lot of want to see stuff right now, that where Twitter is that kind of real time machine gun fire content, right? And a lot of links, a lot of information. So maybe that is probably quite a good platform to start focusing on if you want to become a coach and start educating yourself up, right?
It is, and there's lots of really good coaches on Twitter that you can follow and take snippets from.
Yeah, and and from a coaching perspective, where's the best place for these guys to go to better themselves? How can you become a better coach? Is there I mentioned about a forum and talking around each other, and obviously we talk about Twitter, but is there a good book? Is there a coach's coach? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's some really good books about Tom Bates, who's one of my mentors at Birmingham City, has a really good book called The Future Coach. That's a really good resource. There's also a platform called The Coach's Voice.
Right.
Which is quite popular and has loads of video content, session plans.
That's a website.
That's
with
a
a whole
website
bunch of
with a little
resources.
subscription. It's a really good one.
So what was that?
The Coach's Voice.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah, definitely recommend following that and subscribing to that.
Yeah.
But listen, Amazon's got loads of books. There's different books for different purposes. There's books on formations. There's books on actually the school of coaching, the education of coaching. So there's one for each and every market.
Yeah. What's next? You mentioned obviously the app, and we're looking forward to that in the next 18 months, 2 years. But what's next for RB Coaching? Like, are you just, I'm assuming it was probably a bit rocky over the past 12 to 18 months, and you're now hitting a bit of a growth spurt, just like the rest of the economy, right? Yeah,
we are looking for a small expansion in the Warwickshire, West Midlands region, but the lockdown actually made our program better, because we took all our sessions online via Zoom. So I was delivering practical Zoom sessions, and then the workshops on Zoom. So actually expanded my knowledge, my skill set, and the coach's skill set, and actually made the players more aware that there's different ways to learn.
Yeah.
Hence why the app, is kind of founded from there.
Sure.
So what's next? The formation of the app, which is going to hopefully go global and do really well.
Yeah.
And from an RB coach perspective, keep doing what we're doing, because we've got a proven method. And we've recently set up a small community-based football program in my local area,
right,
as well, which kind of provides football in the community for boys and girls between the ages of 2 and 12, and it's a bit more of an inclusive program.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to developing our links in the local community and giving boys and girls a great start in their football career. Make it fun.
Yeah, love it.
Enjoyable, love it, and that's the beauty of coaching.
Yeah,
because you can kickstart someone's football love and passion forever.
Yeah, because they all start at Grassroots, right?
They all start at Grassroots, and the Grassroots. There's amazing people that work in grassroots football up and down the country, and full hats to you, because it's voluntary.
Yeah,
and
it's uphill. Yeah,
without you guys, there's no elite game.
Yeah,
so the grassroots football deserve, and the standard of grassroots football, by the way, has got a lot better.
Yeah,
since I played that level back in the day. So full credit to the grassroots community, amazing people.
Ryan, it's been absolutely amazing. So how do people get in touch? How do they find out about RB Coaching? What's the web address? Give me all the dates.
Yeah, web address www.rbcoaching.academy. And and we're based in the West Midlands and Warwickshire region. So we look forward to interacting with you. And any coaches out there listening as well, young coaches in particular, if you want to get in contact with me and ask me any questions, you're more than welcome.
Amazing. Ryan, thanks very much for joining in. This has been the Vesey Total Grassroots Football Podcast, brought to you by VO.co. We are the next best grassroots football podcast. You can get it over any platform that you get your podcast from. Listeners, thanks so much for tuning in, and we will catch you over the next weeks and months with brand new episodes. Cheers.